Ooh. Insert angelic chorus sound effect and dramatic lens flare here. No, seriously, do that in your own head because I don't have either the budget or the wherewithal or the editing skills to do so on my own. So, just imagine it. It's beautiful, isn't it? Hey there, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain. We are once again reaching into Bill's beer fridge. Now, I've got a handful of things in there where there are 2 or 3 cans of the same thing. I'm hoping that some of the folks who knew Bill would join me for some of these videos. And last 2 years, the whole pandemic thing's made it difficult to get together. But we're working on that. We're getting some plans together. I'm going to talk to some folks and we'll see about getting those together. So right now I'm working on the singles, and I was poking through what's left for singles in there, and I came across one that I could not resist. So definitely got to hit it up, and we're doing that tonight. There may have been a few bottles and stuff added to the fridge since I started opening it. But tonight we're looking at Point Brewing Company, which I believe this is my first beer from these guys. Zozobra Milk Stout. Now, what got my attention was red, green, and Mexican chocolate chili. So, Zozobra. Let's see what I have here. With red and green chili and Mexican chocolate. Sorry, I ran those together before. This is not my first drink of the evening, by the way. I've had a couple of beers before this. But yeah, with red and green chili and Mexican chocolate. So, some interesting can art here. Looks like a circus show with a dude in a flaming tuxedo pointing at a couple of little people down on the ground, reminiscent of Burning Man, perhaps. Centerpoint Brewing Company, LLC, 1 Sullivan Street in Berwick, Maine. Cornerpointbrewing.com, Cornerpoint Brewing. How have I not heard? I mean, Berwick's not that far away, I don't think. How have I not heard of Cornerpoint? All right, so we're going to read the label description here. This is not always a good idea because sometimes it throws off my perception of the beer and it influences my opinion, but I'm going to do this because this label art has got my attention, so I got to see what they have to say about it. Plus, again, it's a brewery that's new to me. It does say here that it's 4% ABV, so it's not going to be a hugely heavy beer in terms of alcohol content, which is probably good at this point in the evening for me. This is Zozobra, aka Old Man Gloom. Sorry. The words are spaced out a certain way. I'm going to try and read them naturally, but, with the alcohol in my system, it might not come out that way. Zozobra, aka Old Man Gloom, is a 50-foot high marionette effigy that is built and burned during the annual Fiestas de Santa Fe. Fiestas de Santa Fe in Santa Fe. Fiestas de Santa Fe in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Sorry, I'm just trying to... As his name suggests, he embodies gloom. By burning him, people destroy the worries and troubles of the previous year in the flames. We couldn't think of a better way to ring in the new year than releasing a beer that helps destroy anything to do with last year. I should have saved this for December 31st of this year, because it definitely didn't fucking work in 2021. We added red and green chili to a traditional milk stout, then finished it off with Mexican chocolate. Enjoy and feel the calamity that was last year. Slowly fade away. Cheers. Now, when was this brewed? I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a good sentiment for any year, but for Christ's sake, it was more profound in the last 2 years. Well, shit. This is at least a year old. Anyway, alright, so that got gloomy all of a sudden, because I'm trying to remember. It's been at least a year since this was brewed. And there's no indication on the label as to the brewing year, so here's the question. Did it come about at the end of the first year of the pandemic before we knew that things were going to continue on into 2022? Or was it a year ago? I mean, it could have been a year ago as of May, earlier this month. Shit. Okay, moving on is what it is. Let's talk about the beer. Well, maybe I've angered some spirits tonight. With that label description and the fact that I drew a couple of blanks there, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but it's also possible that this beer just had some live yeast in the bottom and I waited too long to drink it. I'm going to pour it out real quick here. Whoa. That. I mean, look at that. That is all foam. Okay, whether we're talking about the spiritual realm or otherwise, I refuse to take responsibility for this mess because there's no way a beer would have foamed up like that if there wasn't something going on in terms of like post canning fermentation or something else, because this beer definitely did not get shaken, stirred, or otherwise disturbed. That is an indicator that something weird is going on here. And I'm convinced this is physical, not spiritual. All right, I'm going to pause the video right here while I go and get some towels to kind of contain this. I'm going to give this some time to go down, and then I'm going to pour the rest a little bit more slowly and conservatively. Yeah, we'll be back in a minute. For you, it will be no time at all. For me, it'll be a few minutes. Okay, now, I don't ascribe a lot of credibility to any particular religion or belief system. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking you guys, any of you have them, but I just, take everything with a grain of salt. All talk of angry spirits and cleansing rituals and all that stuff aside, this beer talks about being prophetic of cleansing the past year and looking forward to the next. I really, really hope, given the fact that it's May 20th of 2022, that there is no significance to that bit there, and that what we just experienced here with the fucking foaming up and exploding this shit is not indicative of what we have to look forward to in, June forward of 2022 through 2023 next year. So unless we're talking about the profitability of any particular company or the stock market in general, because I'll tell you what, I looked at my fucking 401k. that could stand to explode and expand. Anyway, all that aside, folks, minor crisis averted. We didn't make that big of a mess. Nothing that can't be cleaned up with Clorox wipes. And it is pretty sticky, but whatever. Look at that. That is a dark brown beer. There's almost no light coming through it, but there is some. You can only tell it's brown by looking down here at the thinner part of the glass. Hints of brown here. Nice brown head. Means there's a nice thick body of the beer. But I don't know what's coming through on the camera, but if you look down here in the thinner part of the glass, there are lots of bubbles coming up through in the middle part, which means that this is an effervescent brew. In case the previous part of this video did not tell you that it was effervescent. Now, there's a crisp, clean, vegetative aroma to it. Now, I've seen some chile. Why do I keep throwing the accent on there? I guess I'm trying to be profound. Anyway, some pepper-based beers that have a vegetative pepper taste to them. You know, you cut into a green or red pepper from green, red, yellow, or orange pepper from your local supermarket. If you're not looking for a hot pepper, there's that crisp, peppery aroma that comes off of them. And that's what I'm getting off of this. It's a vegetative pepper aroma versus anything hot or spicy. So there's that. Maybe some underlying tones of hot chocolate bitterness, but definitely more aroma of the peppers than the chocolate. It's smooth, creamy, nice, medium mouthfeel. Now this says 4% ABV. I'm actually getting a bit of booziness that I would expect from like a darker, heavier ABV stout. So maybe there was some post-canning fermentation going on here that would explain the effervescence, the gassiness, and the fact that I'm getting a hint of booziness off of a beer that's only 4% ABV. But I'd have to check with the brewery to see if there's any like active post-canning fermentation. I mean, it's got the character of like a chocolate stout. Well, obviously, it's a milk stout. Nice and creamy, nice and smooth. And I'm getting a hint of heat on my tongue, but not an overt amount. I'm definitely getting that vegetative pepper flavor. And it's distinctly chocolatey. Now, with a milk stout, it gets a little confusing. With regular stouts, it can get a little confusing because most of the chocolate flavor that comes from a stout is from the roasting of the malt that goes into the brewing process. But with a milk stout, you're adding this smooth, creamy character to it that makes it taste even more like chocolate than a roasted malt can taste like chocolate on its own. And I'm getting that distinct, like smooth, creamy chocolatiness, but I can tell it's based on the roastiness of the malt, but it's closer to actual chocolate than anything else. I mentioned that hint of heat. I'm still getting that vegetative pepper taste, but I mentioned that hint of heat that I was picking up on that is increasing as I drink it. I've had some other really nice stouts with the chili kick. And this one it's sneaking up on me slowly, but I know that the next, it's slowly working its way down too. I know that the next sip I take, I'm going to get some heat a little further down. It started here in the mouth and on the back of the tongue. It slowly worked its way down my throat, down my esophagus. Pardon. Ooh, there's some burn there. Now, most of the heat I'm feeling is up here, but there's some heat here. I'm pretty sure the next couple of sips, it's going to work its way down a little further. By the time this is empty, the hiccups are trying to come through now. If it wasn't obvious before, this is not my first drink of the evening. But by the time I'm down to the bottom of this, I'm pretty sure that heat's going to be all the way down in my belly and warming me right up, top to bottom. It's a really good beer. It's easier to drink than I would have thought. I'm pretty sure that at least a year in the can has allowed some yeasts in the bottom, some remaining live yeast, because there's a bit of grunge down there, premature, which probably led to some of the explosion we saw, as well as the fact that I'm definitely getting more booziness off of this than I would expect from a 4% ABV beer, so I'm guessing that it did can mature. I would say bottle mature, but it's not in a bottle. I could be completely off base on that, but I'm guessing there was some active live yeast in there. But again, could be wrong. I could just be slowly feeling the effects of everything I've drank before this tonight. But it's really well put together. The vegetative pepperiness that continually slightly increases the heat step by step to the point where I've got I haven't taken a sip of this in a little while, and I've still got a nice, consistent, mild burn right up to about here. And the fact that it's getting lower and lower. This is a full-on 5 out of 5 for me. I gotta say it. Even though the fact that it exploded all over the table, that, it is what it is. But the overall experience of drinking the beer, there are beers, again, I'm going to reiterate the point that I made before. There are beers that have a chocolatey taste because of the bitterness of the roasted malt. There are beers that have a nice, smooth, creamy texture based on the fact that it's a milk stout. This one kind of combines the two perfectly to the point where it actually does taste like hot chocolate without being hot. It's got that smooth, creamy, nice, milky. It's fucking Swiss Miss in beer form. But then the heat kicks in and it slowly increases as you drink it. That heat slowly works its way down through your body. And there's that vegetative pepper taste that's still kind of there. This beer is just kind of blowing me away on a few different levels. Again, take away the whole aspect of cleansing the last year. Take away that aspect of cleansing the last year with the fact that it's been a little over a year since Bill's passing, and that this beer is still kind of fits the bill, for lack of a better expression. Anyway, I could keep exploring a certain thought process and like delve into this deeper philosophically and spiritually and all that happy shit. But bottom line is, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. It's a great beer. If you do pick it up, I don't know, open it immediately and let me know if you have the same stuff go down. Get two, put one away and cellar it or fridge it for a full 12 months and let me know if this same experience happens for you. If it's different, fresh out of the can, like brand new. Or they might not have even made this again. So anyway, this has been my experience with one that sat in a fridge for most of a year and some warmer conditions for a portion of that, but mostly in a fridge for 12 months. Hit me up down below in the comments or the email link. We'll love to hear what you have to say about this beer, or if your experience has been different, how you matured it, for lack of a better way to explain it. A lot of different variables came into play here, and love to hear what you have to say about all that. While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, folks. The heat's getting more intense. It's really burning through here, and I'm getting warmth all the way down in the belly, like I said I would. Oh my God. Overall, an amazing beer. Till next time, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad this was made available to me. Despite the circumstances. Would have rather been drinking this with Bill. But that not being a possibility, this is... Yep. Still pretty cool. Anyway, cheers.